What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Saturday night's late night agenda. I hope that you are all in good spirits. We have quite a bit to go through today. Today is Dani Olmo release clause day for any clubs that are interested in trying to trigger that. Real quick, I caught one comment before I came on. I just want to address it. I'm not going to go in on the person. I just want to give my honest take. So On Point Construction said, Craig, you really need to stop with the negativity. You heard our sporting director. July will be quiet and expect things to happen mid-August. God sake, Craig, you did this last season. Well, firstly, on last season, I don't think I did. And with regards to your comment, look, it's a fair one, but you're kind of taking out of context what our sporting director said. He didn't say we, which is something that a lot of people seem to be misconstruing. He said he envisions that the market in general will be fairly quiet in July and will come to a crescendo in August. So he's been wrong on that one, because the market hasn't really been quiet in July, has it? And the negativity, what you call negativity, I call realism, because we've not signed anybody. What is there for me to be positive about? What would you like me to come on and do? Would you like me to come on and lie to everybody? Would you like me to come on and do what everybody else is doing, which is the owners bidding, parroting their opinions and not having a backbone? So respectfully, my friend, it isn't negativity, it's realism. I don't want to be negative. I take no pleasure from coming on and speaking aggressively against the owners, but I call it as I see it. And again, that's not what Richard Hughes said. So go back, rewatch it. We can talk about it, no problem. You're of course entitled to your opinion. You wrote it respectfully. That's why I'm replying respectfully. But it isn't just negativity for the sake of it, mate. Look at the gauge and the temperature of the fan base right now. Would you say that Liverpool fans, as we sit here having this conversation, are happy right now? I would guess to say they aren't. And there's a reason for it. Because we've been lied to and manipulated over and over again. We've been sold visions and stories and songs and times and tales as old as time about us being ready to pounce, about us being there for generational talents, until we aren't. So I'll keep doing what I'm doing. Don't you worry about me, my friend. You carry on, and if it's too much negativity for you, I respect your opinion, but there are plenty of other options for you to watch and tune into. I'm just going to keep saying it as I see it. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I do, of course, understand where you're coming from, but my position is going to remain as such until I see different, because I want us to win. Everybody else, I hope you're all well. Nice to see you in. Ethan said, I'll be honest, Craig, I don't think we will sign anyone. I think we will. No, I'm not going to go and say I don't think we're going to make any signings, but there's a lot of stuff that's just a bit hypocritical at the minute and a little bit mix and match, and I'm going to give you some examples of that in tonight's stream as well. There are links today, of course, to Liverpool and players. We've still been linked with Dani Olmo. We've been linked with Matt O'Reilly from Celtic. We've been linked with a couple of others. We're going to discuss them on tonight's stream. As always, though, we'd like to know your thoughts, so do let us know in the comments. Drop a like on the stream if you enjoy it, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Right, so here's some of the hypocrisy that I'm speaking about. Actually, I want to wait because the super chat came in and I don't want to forget about it. So I'm going to go into super chat first. Mohammed said, hello Craig, I heard in previous live streams we fans need to do something. If there are any tips on how to get attention, no aggression, and sorry for my grammar. So I would never ask anybody or condone anybody being aggressive or personal in their opinions. But what I would say, Mohammed John, my friend, is speak up. If you are on social media, if you do have a social media account, whether that's an Instagram, a TikTok, a YouTube, a Twitter, or whatever other platform, Facebook perhaps, just speak up as a Liverpool fan and share your honest views. If you're unhappy about the business, speak it. You know, we can be forceful and still respectful. So, I appreciate your super chat. I really appreciate your comment as well, so thank you for that. On some of these hypocrisies that I'm speaking about, I'm going to give you an example again from our friends at The Echo. So, I've said many times and read to you guys many comments from The Echo's articles that say the same thing. They wrote a piece last night, and in this piece they said, who's Arne Slot's first signing going to be? And then I think there was maybe 5 of their journalists that gave their opinions on these signings. I'm going to read you out a couple of them and see if you figure where I'm coming from. So Theo Squires wrote, Liverpool's current transfer stance is that they don't consider a new centre-back an immediate transfer priority despite Joel Matip's summer exit, and instead believe other areas of the squad are greater need of reinforcement. Absolutely no problem with that. Theo goes on to suggest Johan Bakayoko as the first signing. My problem comes with the very next two comments. So the next journalist in the same article, speaking about who they believe Liverpool's first signing will be, is Isaac, and Isaac believes will sign Mark Gay. Now, excuse me if I'm wrong, but isn't he a centre-back? And aren't we not looking for a centre-back? But yet the Echo's own journalists are saying, I think a centre-back will be our first signing, but maybe that was a fluke. Let's go on to the next journalist, Amy Wilson. And Amy Wilson suggests that Liverpool's first signing under Arne Slot is going to be Murillo. Isn't Murillo a centre-back? Doesn't Murillo play for Nottingham Forest? Why are we discussing centre-backs as the first option if the club don't want a centre-back? It's almost as if they either have no editor or they're talking out their backsides. And this is the double speak I'm speaking about. This is the hypocrisy that we're being forced to swallow. One breath, we don't need a centre-back, and then the very same journalists are talking about they think the first signing is going to be a centre-back. You couldn't make it up. Hughes said August for signings. No, he didn't. Again, go back and listen to what he said. Richard Hughes said, I believe it's going to be a fairly quiet market in July, and it will come to a crescendo in August. Not speaking about our transfer business, speaking about the transfer market in general. Never once said what our business was going to be and when we would make signings, but people keep misconstruing this to use it as an argument and a defence for the lack of spending. And he's wrong on both counts, by the way. It hasn't been a quiet July. United have got Xerxes in. United have got Yoro in. United are going after Ugarte and a few more. Manchester City have got a player in. Arsenal are closing in on players. Spurs have got players. In fact, 18 Premier League clubs have made signings. Not really the quiet July, is it? So on every front, that was wrong. Whether you're talking about our business or the business in general, wrong. So again, these aren't my words. These are the words that we're being told. Why can't we go and buy a big proven player and not youngsters? With the biggest team in England and FSG are making a joke of us, absolute joke. I think we both know the answer to that, TAA. And the answer is the owners. The answer is the owners are cheap. People don't want to hear that and people don't like me saying that, but it is. The owners are cheap. I don't lay any blame on Richard Hughes or Michael Edwards or any of the staff. I blame it on the owners. The owners are the ones who are ultimately responsible for what happens at the club. And as the title said tonight, no signings, no ambition, no trophies. That's where this is heading. Unless we have a drastic change. And it needs to happen quickly. There's no reason for us to be this passive in the transfer market. None. Would you take Kubo at Liverpool? I'm unsure on how his form is, but he's a young winger with good potential. Much love, Craig, said Mario7217. I don't really know all that much about his recent form either, to be fair, Mario. The links seem to be coming from Japan originally. In fact, I can tell you exactly where that link originated from. 1 second. It is a Japanese outlet called Sponichi. Sponichi. And I don't know if there's any validity to it. We mentioned it on last night's stream. Some people were for it. Some people thought we could do better. I honestly am unsure, but it's still an interesting link nonetheless. 65 million euro is the number that's been mentioned in that piece. I just don't know and can't speak to the sincerity of the link. Jack Dempsey said, oh, hello Craig, I thought you were off today. Genuinely think none of these journalists know anything at the moment. Won't believe much until it's Ornstein or Fabrizio. Praying for concrete news soon, maybe Williams. So on Williams, there was some interesting comments from Graham Bailey, I think works for Caught Offside. And I think Graham probably has this right. I don't know Graham Bailey, but I kind of agree with his viewpoint. I am paraphrasing here somewhat, but he said that it doesn't really matter about what offers they put to Nico Williams. It doesn't matter about his wages. He wants to stay in Spain. He wants to go to Barcelona, and they're going to look to try and make that happen. So unfortunately, if that is what the young man wants to do, and I can understand it entirely. You know, that's the country that he's grown up in. That's the league that he's used to. That's the climate that he's used to. I can get it and understand it, no problem. So if it isn't Nico Williams, I'm okay with that as well. But it has to be someone, right? And that's the problem here, Jack, is it's all going a little bit wayward. And silence is great if something happens from it, but you know, silence can also mean what we've seen in the past, which is a lack of work, a lack of activity, and a lack of actual commitment to winning. So I agree with you as well. David Ornstein, great journalist. Fabrizio Romano, not my cup of tea, but certainly very well informed. But what we have seen, and I think that I hope we see some positivity from, is James Pearce of The Athletic as well, saying that Liverpool are speaking about centre-back, midfielder and a forward, and I'm kind of hanging my hat, Jack, on that a little bit, to be honest, mate. And thank you again. That's a very generous super chat, mate. You're really kind and I appreciate your support. TA66 said, can we talk about Trent's potential move to Real Madrid? Needs a new contract very quickly. Need to keep him. He's the future of our club. Of course we can, my friend. We can absolutely talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold's situation. In fact, I have it in my notes here somewhere. 1 second. So, I'm getting a bit concerned about Trent's situation as well, because what seems to be spoken about openly quite a bit now is that Trent's going to hang on. Trent's going to see how competitive and how good Liverpool are under Arne Slot before making a decision about his future. Now, from a purely personal perspective, I can understand that. I can see logic to what Trent is saying, but it doesn't help us and it doesn't make us any less worried. Because let's say Trent decides that, well, it isn't quite as good as I was hoping for under Arne Slot. He's off for free then, and there's nothing we can do about that. And if he does decide that he'd like to stay, which would be good news, you're going to have to back that up with a record-breaking offer, probably Mohamed Salah type money. So, my big problem with the whole Trent situation, and to be fair to the Echo, I have seen them start to question this a little bit, is how did it get to this point? How do we allow him to get here? Where our situation now is, we have another Michael Owen, Steve McManaman situation where one of our players runs down a deal and heads off to Madrid. And that's what they want to do. You've seen the reports from Spain, they want to sign him on a free next year. So what we can't allow to happen is Trent to dictate that situation. It's not a comfortable situation to discuss. It's not an easy situation to sit here and say, but you got to start playing hardball. How many people are we going to let walk out the exit door for free and at the same time be told that we can only spend what we generate? Well, then one easy way to try and generate more money is, of course, to sell players and get some money for them. The idea of losing Trent for free, a homegrown talent, a vice captain, it sickens me. So it's either overpay, which we're going to have to do now to get him to stay, or he leaves. But we can't let him leave for free. A decision on Trent has to be made this summer. On the Mohamed Salah situation, look, I would rather he was sold to receive some money, but at least I can look at it, as I've said before, and think he's 32. If he sees out his contract at Liverpool, Liverpool have had the best years of Mo's career and he's 33. And maybe Liverpool could look at it, as David Lynch said, and feel like they've gotten value of the service Mo has given the club, the initial transfer fee, and what they've laid out. But with Trent, though, that doesn't add up, does it? You can't look at the age profile. He was a homegrown talent. It could be all profit, which would be very, very helpful in the transfer window. And I don't want to lose Trent, but I also don't want the club to be held over a barrel like Marcus Rashford did to United. And we've seen how that worked out. So, can we survive without Trent? Yes, but I prefer him to be here. But we cannot let it go in past the end of this window. We just can't. It's just too foolish, too risky. And to say that letting Trent do that is better than losing him now, I would disagree. I would say getting some money in from now if he wants to move is the way to go. But again, he could dig his heels in and say, look lads, I'm not signing a new deal now. I told you I want to wait and see. And then Liverpool have to play hardball, unfortunately. And I don't say that lightly. So yeah, it's difficult. And I've said it for a long time, I don't understand how we got here. Whatever you think about the owners, however highly you regard Edwards and Hughes, that this situation has been allowed to happen it's just, I can't believe it. Like, I don't have words to describe the level of stupidity allowing this to happen. Luke, how are you, sir? Craig, how are you doing, my friend? I just want to know, am I scared that you may fall out of the Champions League because of your lack of signings? Yes and no. I think even if we didn't sign anybody, we still have a decent squad that can be somewhat competitive. But that's not what we're about, right? That's not what we want. Getting into the Champions League means we get some cool nights. It means we get some nice clubs. It means we get to watch some good football. But it doesn't give us a trophy. Winning the Champions League or winning the Premier League is the aim. So I'd seen some United fans coming in at the start of the stream. Look, they're bantering. It's all good. It was in good spirits. Saying Liverpool are washed. United are overtaking them, blah, blah, blah. United have a lot of making up to do from a very poor season last year. And yes, they've done some good business and they should be commended for that. But we aren't washed or anything like it. But it is very frustrating when you're so close to something, but yet you know that one or two little bits, those 2 or 3 signings will get you there. Because everybody else doesn't stand still. And we're already behind City and Arsenal. We finished behind them last year. We're already clearly behind the likes of Real Madrid in the Champions League. And that's the level we have to compete at. So to do that, we have to have the very best we can. As deep a squad as we can. And there's no reason not to. We freed up some overseas places. We've got 3 of them going in the squad as we speak. We freed up a lot of money from players whose contracts have naturally come to an end. Thiago, Adrian San Miguel and Joel Matip. That's about 18.7 million pound a year. What's happening with that money? Even if you had to give it to Trent, it's still money that you were already paying out. I just don't get it. So much of this doesn't make sense to me. So yes, I am worried, mate. I'm worried that maybe we'll have one more year in the Champions League. But then what happens at the end of the year? Let's say Liverpool repeat this season and finish 3rd. We qualify back in for the Champions League, but maybe we're 15 points behind the league winners. Maybe we get out of the Champions League group stage and we get knocked out in the quarterfinals. Is that going to be enough to convince the likes of Virgil or Mo if he has a good season, or Trent that we are the right destination? Or does he look at Madrid winning another La Liga title and possibly lift another Champions League and think, well, it's fairly self-explanatory. I'm off. This is where we're at. And I get it. People love to give the benefit of the doubt and people think I moan. But I've warned about these things for months. And it's coming to fruition. So, you know, I don't like the whole I told you so stuff. But sometimes people's love of the club and people's love of players, I think sometimes blindsides them from the business side of things. Does anyone have a number for the people that convinced Stevie to stay asking for a friend? All jokes, but I'm hoping for Zubamendi, 50 million, said Jack Dempsey. So I remember a funny story actually about the Gerrard situation. Rick Parry said something like, the biggest mistake Chelsea made was letting Steven Gerrard off Roman Abramovich's yacht, because then he was back amongst friends, family, and people got in his ear. And people were telling him, you know, don't go to Chelsea because it won't feel the same. The one big difference, Jack, that I've always found with the Trent situation is there won't be any FOMO. Because Gerrard, you could say, what if you won a league title with Liverpool? Wouldn't that be worth so much more than going to Mourinho, Chelsea and winning a couple? Trent's done it. And that doesn't get spoken about enough. Trent has won everything at Liverpool. He doesn't have the fear of missing out. He knows what it feels like. Albeit it was a COVID season, they didn't celebrate it the way they would have liked to. But he knows what it feels like to wear a Premier League winners medal. He knows what it feels like to have a Champions League winning medal. And I'm sure when he looks back in his career, he's going to want more of them. And if Liverpool aren't shown the ambition to match the ambition of these players, that's a worrying sign as well. So there's a lot of these things for me that don't make sense other than the owners are cheap. And that's what it comes back to me. That's what it boils down to. The owners that aren't even really backing their own hometown club over in Boston, their fans are unhappy. Owners that are in expansion mode, going behind the Pittsburgh Penguins, looking to bring in more football teams. One of the things we've always credited FSG for was the brain trust, the cleverness. Well, that gets spread thin when you start buying more and more franchises, more and more clubs. The intelligent people have a bit more to do then. They're spread a bit more thin. And they can only do what they're allowed to do. So yes, I'm concerned. And the Stevie situation, as I said, was a bit different because he didn't win the league. Trent has that feeling. He's got that in his memory bank. He's got the pictures to hang on the wall. He remembers what it's like. The Caicedo money was all a ruse to placate supporters into thinking FSG have ambition. It's no accident, mate, is it, that when we don't get the guy, whoever the guy is, it's always a cheaper option. Now we're being told about Sepp van den Berg. We're being tried to be sold a pup that Sepp van den Berg is the centre-back that we never knew we had, that we never knew we needed, that we never knew was as good as he is. Funny thing about that is he's disrespected the club massively over the past few weeks, and all of a sudden that's brushed under the carpet. He said what he said, and nobody in the media is willing to hold him to account. Nobody's willing to say, how could he have gotten away with speaking like this? Imagine Virgil said that, or Mohammed said that. We wouldn't be sitting here talking about it so casually. He wanted out. He said the club are ruining his future. He said the club never cared about his development in the past. Why all of a sudden are they pretending to? They're stopping him from moving on. So none of this I'm buying, because it's always the cheaper option. Sepp van den Berg suddenly is a great centre-back. Could be. But he's also a cheaper option, right? There was no talk of Sepp van den Berg coming in last year. There was no talk on the Jurgen Klopp. There was no talk before coming into this summer. Everybody, all the papers, all the media, everybody reported Van den Berg was for sale. Liverpool put a price tag on him. Mainz made an offer. Liverpool turned it down. And there's a number. And then we're being told that he's the answer at centre-back. It doesn't add up. Stevie Boy said, unless all the fan base gets on the same page and starts questioning FSG, I see the same situation happening in 12 months. It happens every summer, mate. Last summer we did some good business. I acknowledge it. But we didn't finish the job. And our solution for missing out on Enzo and Lavia was Endo, who was a sticking plaster. A good, honest, likeable fella who certainly served a purpose in the squad. Certainly left us with at least somebody who understands that role and that position. But it wasn't the long-term answer. Articles themselves written by journalists this summer said that Liverpool have gone into the third year of their search for a defensive midfielder. 3 years. What's the excuse for that? A centre-back. We're being told now all of a sudden that Kwanzaa could be the solution. He could be. Is he going to play in his own though? Because if Virgil departs in a year, then what? Kwanzaa could absolutely be a leader of that defence. Kwanzaa could be a mainstay. But can Kanade? Are we confident that Kanade's injury record and form is ready to go in? I'm not. These are all things that if we really ask ourselves, the tough questions, there's some very clear answers. And it's that the owners are cheap. And that they always go for the reduced price or lower outlay option. Always. What annoys me is that VVD is clear he wants to be at Liverpool, shown in the media, where Trent has said F all about the fans who support him. It's difficult to read silence. It's difficult to gauge silence because you start to invent what you think he's thinking, right? And it's natural, it's normal. So I've tried to stay away from trying to figure out what Trent is or isn't thinking because I don't know. But I do know that if he really wanted to stay, he could end the speculation quite quickly with, I'm focused on renewing with Liverpool. But somebody is briefing the media because somebody is saying to the journalists that Trent wants to have a look at this season with Arne Slot. So who could that be? It isn't going to be the club. So it has to be somebody from his side, if they're true. And if they weren't true, I would expect it to have been spoken about by now. I would expect a James Pearce or a Paul Joyce or David Ornstein to say absolutely not the case. Trent's fully focused on Liverpool, but nobody has. So Ben Jacobs has been speaking a little bit about the Salah situation. This is what Ben Jacobs said to Gimme Sport. With Mohamed Salah, the preference is for him to extend his deal. But if he does depart for Saudi in 2025, there may be less concern about Salah given his age and the fact that he is going to stay on for at least one more season. Extending Salah is perhaps more with a view to protect his value and force Saudi deal makers to pay a big fee in 12 months' time. But we didn't take money last summer, and we didn't extend him. So we put ourselves in the position where, we hope he signs a new deal so we can make money on him down the line. I would also like to point out that these people aren't idiots. Mohamed Salah, Rami Abbas, they're not idiots. They can see this play out. They can see the narrative. They can see that they're being used to get Liverpool a payday. And they don't have to do anything about it. Sit there. He will play this season. He's returned in great shape. But what's the best case scenario here? We overpay again. It just doesn't make sense. So Rudy Galletti has said, Matt O'Reilly has been included on the list of some clubs. Atalanta is the team that moved first for him. He's a Celtic player, by the way, Danish international. Liverpool and Atleti are well informed about the situation of the midfielder. Again, another player that we could have signed much quicker, if indeed we wanted to. So, here's my question to the people who feel like we're waiting for August. Why? Genuine question. Why? Why are we saying it's okay to just wait till August? How is that suddenly acceptable? Everybody else has had time to look. And remember, some of our recruitment team are already at the club. So it's not like they all just came in and all of a sudden started from scratch. We've been looking at these players. We've got notes on them. We've got the analytics, the data. What are we waiting for? I can tell you the answer. What happens when you go into August? Start getting distracted by the start of the season, which comes in the second week of August. Then you start hearing the phrases like, no value to be had, excessive prices, wage demands too high. All the stuff that tends to happen when you get to the end of a transfer window and desperation kicks in. The very thing that we're not supposed to do, overpay, is what will happen. Or we get nothing and we get told there was no value in the market. It's a dangerous game. And the league doesn't start when the transfer window closes. The league starts in the middle of August. We're aiming to peak, be ready to launch middle of August. So with all due respect to everybody at the club, there's no benefit until us waiting around and seeing what happens. The benefit is putting these guys on the training pitch with Arne Slot and letting them improve them, letting them get up to speed. Because the players who went deep in international competitions, your Alexis McAllisters, your Trent, your Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijks, the rest of these guys, they're not going to have a full pre-season. Some of them are coming back at the start of August. McAllister, 1st of August is when he returns. So then Liverpool have to get him up to fitness again and ready to go for the start of the campaign. So the manager won't even get a chance to assess the squad, which is another ironic bit of reporting that we're seeing. Arne Slot wants to have a look over the squad. Arne Slot wants to assess what he has. Won't have the time to do that because a lot of them won't be there. Right, I have a couple of super chats I need to catch up on. Trent TAA66, thank you sir, said, I also think Trent would be silly to leave. Madrid won't be the same for him. We'll treat him like a king. Madrid will not do that. Just more trophies. Look, I want Trent to stay, mate. I'm right with you. I'm hoping we get some breakthrough news on Trent. I don't want him going anywhere. Jammy Jam Jars, how are you, bro? For United, instead of where's the money, John, it's where are you getting all the money from, Jim? Love it as a United fan, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't worried about the PSR aspect of it. I read an article earlier on today to say that Jim Radcliffe wants to move on 7 players before the end of the transfer window. So, look, there's no textbook way of doing your business. Some clubs like to do their business, get the players they want in, and then look to move other players out. Can be a dangerous game, but so can the reverse of it. So can trying to move the players on and then bringing in your guys, because then people know you're looking, right? And people know you need to fill that spot and you might be getting a bit desperate. So it's striking a balance that's important here. And at least you've got your business done. Some of it. You know, you've got Xerxes in. You've got yourself a fine young centre-back in Lenny Yoro. He's already made his first appearance for you in the United shirt. Did that today in the 2-0 win against Rangers. And he's working on the training pitch. Whereas us, nope, nothing. Has Klopp said to Coutinho to go to Barcelona or just to play at the same time with Trent if he goes to Madrid? So I think it was something like, stay here, they'll build a statue for you, go there and you'll be just another player. Look, I think if we're being honest with ourselves, we have to admit the appeal of Madrid. Now, of course, we also have to admit that Trent's a local boy, and I'm sure it's pulling on his heartstrings. And I don't know how this pans out, but what I know is, and I feel really confident in saying this, it has to be resolved before the window closes. It has to be. You can't let Trent go into the window, when the window's closed, not having signed a new deal. Because he could sign for Real Madrid on a pre-contract in January and there's nothing we can do about it. It is too dangerous a game, and you're going to end up spending more money in the longer run. Josh Brayshaw, 1 year. That is absolutely amazing, mate. Thank you so much. 1 year with us as an Ultra member. Said, Craig, first year anniversary for this lovely community. Love hearing you speak. Love your personality. Keep up the great work. Thank you for a year, mate. Thank you for being with us that long. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your kindness. And here's to many more. I can see media / fans in Spain slaughtering Trent after a few mistakes. Look, I agree with you. He's not going to get the same love over there. Of course he isn't. But look at the way the English media has treated him at times as well, though. We can't ignore this. Us as Liverpool fans and Liverpool media have been defending Trent for a lot of the time. But we've all seen it. We've seen at the Euros. He was ready to be scapegoated. We've seen people come out and say he can't defend. We've seen the lazy stuff. I'm going to read you something, actually, before I move on to another super chat from Righteous Gamer. I'm going to read you comments from Roy Keane. These were comments that Roy Keane spoke recently on Liverpool. Do I think they'll be in the mix next season? No, absolutely not. Let's be real here. No one heard of this chap Slot. I reckon even the Liverpool fans were like, who? And had to Google him. They have a striker who can't score, a defender in Virgil who's seen better days, and a midfield made up of players from mid-table clubs. Even a below-average United side will fancy their chances of finishing above them this season. I honestly see Liverpool being in transition for a while and will have to sit out the European competitions for a while. Title shot? Give me a break. A reality check is coming to an ageing squad with a relative unknown novice in charge. And that was an interview from The Fifth Official, a podcast that came out on the 15th of July. Now, I'm not saying I agree with Roy Keane. There's a lot I disagree with there. But that's the perception. We're not exactly striking fear into people, are we? We're not letting it be known we're serious. Whereas, as I mentioned the other day, we're talking about an Arsenal transfer situation. Why are Arsenal gone in for Calafiori? And the answer paints a picture. Because Arsenal want to strengthen from a position of strength. That's what the reporter on Sky said. That's what the reporter was briefed. And that's how you run a football club. You strengthen from a position of strength. We seem to just wring every single ounce out of players and then let them walk out the door for free. Case in point, Gini Wijnaldum. Still haven't replaced the guy properly in the squad. Righteous Gamer, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Very kind. Said, this is why I hate the fact we're owned by a sports group. They only care about building more sports teams instead of investing. We need a new owner. I'm a couple of good transfer windows away from backing off FSG and not being this aggressive, but I can only call things as I see it, and it's underwhelming window after underwhelming window. Last season we finished third, and do you feel like we're kicking on this season? I feel like we're being set up to scapegoat Arne Slot and for him to be fired, and I don't want that. So I'd also disagree with a lot of what Roy Keane said there. I think a lot of people do know who Arne Slot is. Certainly, he came to my attention when he was being linked to Spurs, when Daniel Levy was looking around for a new coach to come in there. Arne Slot was the first time I really started to take notice of him. But he's a good coach, and he deserves the opportunity to win, not to be thrown under the bus by cheap owners. Craig, has Slot commented anything about transfers? Not to the best of my understanding, Nessie, or not that I have to hand, my friend. Why has it got to this? Said David Massett. My own view is that our fans have been desensitized to it, accepting of it, because Klopp covered over a lot of the failures, and Klopp gave us some amazing seasons. But we all knew that Klopp was glossing over a lot of the stuff for these owners. And I've always said that it was going to be very telling if they support Arne Slot or not. Because one thing I will say is, he isn't Jurgen. And I'm not expecting him to come in and have that impact on the club alone just off his personality and training. But if he's your guy, if after this long, extensive search, he's the one, you've got to back him with transfers. Or what message is that sending out? You know? And again, people say, Craig, the youth. Bring the youth through. Give them a chance. Cool. But that's always the cheap option. Is that a coincidence? I love youth players coming through. I love Conor Bradley. I love Jarell Kwanzaa. I've been champions of both of them. I've been banging on about Conor Bradley for a long time. But some of these guys aren't ready yet. Jayden Danns isn't ready. Kumas isn't ready. They'll get there, but they need a loan for a year or two. And what are we supposed to do for that time? Compete, win, or become a mid-table team? It's too easy to set the manager up for failure. Sign players, back him, show some balls. But we know they don't care. And that's the part some people won't acknowledge. That they just don't care. They don't care. They don't care if we win or not. They don't. They care about the bottom line. And if Liverpool fell out of Champions League football, people will go, well, that might spring them into action. That might make them make some signings. Or it'll make them say, no money. Haven't got the money to go out and compete. Haven't got the money. It's always an excuse, and it's always the lowest, cheapest option. Unless we sell somebody for huge money. And these days, we let players walk out the door for free. Like I've said, 8 of the last 12 players that have left the club didn't bring in a transfer fee. Looking forward to Liverpool show and meeting everyone, said Adam Cooper. Thank you, mate. That's really kind of you. Yeah, so on that, 2 weeks to go. 2 weeks to go. You can still get your tickets with the... well, it used to be pinned to the top of the chat. We'll get that in a second. It is in the description of this stream, though. If you want to come along and see us, our 2 shows are coming up. Less than 2 weeks to go. They are going to be the last shows that we do on stage. So if you want to come and see us, they're all ages events. Tickets are priced at just £15, and you can get them with the link in the description. And again, we appreciate your support on that one. Right. Seriously, who do you think we should sign in, Craig? What do you think we've missed out on? Well, we missed out last year on Van de Ven. We absolutely shit the bed by not bringing him in after the strong links to him. This summer, with regards to who we've missed out on yet, look, Yoro is the obvious one, obviously. But for me, some of the targets that I want are still there. You know, Ederson from Atalanta. I'd love to see us get that deal done, tidied up. Mark Gay from Crystal Palace makes every bit of sense to me as a centre-back signing. The forward one I've never really known. I've always been honest about that. But Chiesa could be a nice, cheap, decent option to tide us over till we see how Mo gets on this season. I feel like Anthony Gordon will end up in a Liverpool shirt at some point. I just don't know if it's this summer or next. So yeah, even at that, right, let's look at the 2 options I've given you. 65 million for Mark Gay and about 40 for Ederson from Atalanta. That's 105 million. A couple of fringe players being moved on, and you end up at a window with about 60 million net spend there so far. Which sounds a lot, but remember, we were already £18.7 million up from wages saved. We're back into the Champions League with 2 extra match days, meaning extra revenue. The Annie Road end is now open, meaning more bums on seats. What's the budget you guys got this summer? We never really get a budget, mate. Under FSG, it's always been a case of, well, this is what we've been told anyway. Liverpool don't go in and say, here's 100 million, this is what we have to spend. We look at a player, we evaluate, and if everything works and the boxes are ticked, the money's made available. If it doesn't, then we look for options, or we wait to see if the situation changes and he becomes more affordable. Something along those lines, but never really told about a figure. There's never like, here's 200 mil. We're never told that. Ben, can we get a poll up asking, should Liverpool pay £65 million for Mark Gay? Yes or no? I'd love to see how Liverpool fans are feeling about this one. And any other topics you want us to go through, let me know. I'm here for the long haul tonight because we need to talk about a lot of stuff. I need to go through a lot more rumours. But most importantly, I'm on tonight because I want you guys to have a chance to express yourselves. David Massett. Craig, my first game was in 1977. I'm now 55 and I'm fed up with why we keep papering over the cracks with this bunch of cowboy owners, and let's get behind the manager and the players. I'm with you. I'm all about getting behind the manager and the players, mate. When the season kicks off and we get going, that's where I'll be, here cheering the lads on. But I just don't accept mediocrity in any part of my life. And I can, like, you can't bullshit a bullshitter is something that we say over here in Ireland. And FSG, to me, it's been really clear all the way through that they got lucky with Jurgen. Some of the signings turned out to be absolute wonder signings, like Andy Robertson and Mohamed Salah, and you get credit for that, of course you do. But it can't always be a cheap option. We came so close last year. We came so close. Remember, 2 years now we've technically chased down quadruples. And what happened in both of those years where we're chasing quadruples? What happened? Both seasons. What do we end up with? Domestic trophies. An FA Cup and 2 League Cups. No Premier League, no Champions League in those years. Just short. And you think your mindset would be, right, we were just short, let's invest and go again. Bit more quality, bit more depth, go again. Strengthen from a position of strength. Not us. Toby Rose said, Craig, at first I was reluctant on Ederson, but the more I've seen of him, he's actually perfect for DM. He gets about the pitch, good interceptor, tidy in tight spaces. Would love this. Thoughts? Look, I've been banging on about him since April, probably. He is, in my opinion, everything we need for a reasonable fee. I was really impressed when we played against them. I was really impressed with him in the Europa League final. And I've been really impressed with him whenever I've watched them. He goes about his business. He's got a great engine. And he gets stuff done. And he's achievable for a reasonable fee. And we've got overseas places in the squad. There's so many reasons that should happen. He's not 100 million. It doesn't make sense to me, mate. But we're being told there's nobody in the world. There's nobody who can tick the boxes that we need. Nobody who is a huge improvement on what we have. Right, so poll is open on Mark Gay. I'm going to leave it run. Thank you, Ben, for putting that up. Said, should Liverpool sign Mark Gay for £65 million? I'll leave that running in the background and let you guys have your say on that one. Thank you, by the way. Yes, I owe you all a huge thank you. The Anfield Agenda Clips channel hit 30k last night, so thank you for that. Let's keep going. I have a little goal for the Clips channel. Wouldn't it be cool if we got a silver play button for our support channel to the main channel? So 100,000 is the aim on there. If you didn't even know that we had one, or if you haven't checked it out yet, Anfield Agenda Clips channel is where we do the shorter versions of content. So the best parts of live streams, unique made for short clips, comments and videos and stuff like that. It's on the Clips channel. You can find it by either scanning that QR code or just searching Anfield Agenda Clips. But massive thank you to you all for helping us get to 30,000 subscribers. You're awesome. Means a lot. David said, they can't keep bullshitting us. We always support the managers and the team, but the owners need to back us and stop thinking about just getting into the top four. Exactly. I'm with you, mate. Question. For anybody in the chat, and I promise you before I say this, I'm not here to shout you down. For anybody who feels like I'm being too harsh on the owners, I'd love to know your thought processes. And I promise you, I'm not going to shout you down. You're not going to be banned. I just want to know, what is it that maybe makes you still give the owners the benefit of the doubt? I'm being sincere with the question. Does anybody else hate the tags on the back of their clothes, by the way? So I don't wear t-shirts or underneath hoodies. So the Adidas labels and all always annoy me on the back of them. For 65 million, I'd prefer Branthwaite from Everton. Look, Brill, I'd love him, mate. It's a good shout from yourself. He's a good player. But unfortunately, we also know that the Evertonians don't do business with us in that regard. So unfortunately, I don't think that one's doable. But I'd be right there with you. I would put him right alongside Mark A as somebody I'd love to see. He's a really good young centre-back. I thought this was your day off. It was, but in all honesty, I was sitting around and my wife had gone to the gym and the local festival is here in my town. So my daughter and her boyfriend have gone out. Lucas is on the computer. And I just thought, you know what? Let's have a chat and let's discuss how people are feeling. Because I'm Mr. Boring, like I don't drink alcohol or anything like that. So for me, my Saturday night was either going to be sitting on the sofa watching TV or jumping on and talking to you guys about how we're feeling, and it was an easy decision to make. And also, I'm not feeling tired. I've had some good rest over the past few days, so I'm good, I'm fresh, and I'm happy to be streaming. Wharton is the answer. It's a good answer, Tony, and a very good player. The last thing I remember, Tony, reading about Adam Wharton was that Manchester City had earmarked him, but they wanted him to have one more year development before they made a move. So definitely a decent shout and an interesting one, mate. Geertruida for 30 million is a beast, said Stan. Isn't he going to PSG, or have I got that wrong? You know, the last I remember reading about Geertruida was that PSG were looking to make that deal happen, but look, maybe something's changed since then. Fabrizio Romano posted earlier on to say, I understand Arsenal are now close to reaching total agreement with Bologna for Riccardo Calafiori. Positive talks taking place behind the scenes with the player's agent. Personal terms agreed, deal until 2029. So Arsenal, who had the best defence, have now added, or are about to add, Calafiori into what was the best defence for more strength and depth. They'll also go out and bring in an attacker. City have brought in another winger. You know, they're the ones we're competing with. Our arch rivals up the East Lancs Road, they've gone out there, brought in a good young centre-back in Lenny Yoro. Got a good value signing in Xerxes at 38 million. That's not overpaying. And they're still going to do business. Spurs, Archie Gray, brought him in. They're looking to get more players in. Chelsea, well, you don't need me to tell you about Chelsea and their spending, but nobody else is standing still. Mark, thank you for gifting a membership, mate. You're very kind. Break and Craig, Liverpool lads in Germany on tour have left the pitch twice. I'd seen that, yeah. There was a game earlier on, I think Liverpool were playing Eintracht Frankfurt, the underage lads. And yes, they did walk off the pitch because of racism coming from the stands, which has been denied from their side. But, you know, I will always support somebody who stands up. And actually, I don't really want to do this, but I feel like I have to be consistent. I'm not having Alexis McAllister's excuse making either for Enzo. I'm sorry, I love Alexis. I'm glad he wasn't part of it. But hiding behind the we're all a little bit more sensitive to racism in Europe stuff doesn't sit well. I'm sorry. The words of those songs, when translated, are pretty clear. It's not an accidental racism song. It's not accidentally sang. It's a disgusting. It's disgusting. The whole situation is disgusting. And we can't excuse it. And I'm a little bit disappointed in Alexis that he wasn't a bit more honest about it. That's how I feel about it anyway. There's no room for racism. No accepting of it. I know somebody in our industry who's no longer with us, who made a mistake speaking from a derogatory racist undertone, and his career was destroyed. And he was thrown under the bus, and the media went in on him. But when it's a professional footballer, all of a sudden it'll be okay because he's making someone money. Where's the same standards? Why aren't we? If we want to remove racism and stamp it out of the game, then everybody needs to be on the same page. And we can't just turn our back because it's a teammate, and we can't just not make the difficult statements. What they sang was disgusting. There's no place for it. Where people come from, where their families originate from, doesn't make any difference. They're French nationals. They play for the French team. And yeah, you beat them in the World Cup and you should be happy about that. But the rest of it's disgusting. And I stand with those Chelsea players who spoke up against it and are disgusted by their teammate. They should be. Maka out then? Absolutely not. I'm not in any way calling for Maka to be thrown under the bus. He didn't sing the song. He wasn't on the coach. My problem is I wish he either said nothing, but what he said, it doesn't come across great. Maka's a good lad. There's not an ounce of badness in that man. And I say that sincerely. I love him. I love Alexis McAllister. Love him to bits. But I don't think that was a good look. I don't think saying that racism's a little bit more sensitive over in Europe than perhaps it is in South America. You know, it is what it is. It's racism. Craig, I really appreciate your hard work, motivating us and giving a reality check on FSG. I feel you aren't sugar-coated. I just call it as I see it, Sarang. And I don't want Arne Slot to be sacked. I want him to be successful. I want Arne Slot to have a Jurgen Klopp level of tenure at the club. A good long reign, successful with some trophies, but he needs to be supported. And we will all support him when we kick off the Premier League campaign at Portman Road against Ipswich. We'll all be right behind the players and the manager, as we always are. We'll critique the poor performances, we'll moan about refereeing decisions, but ultimately, we love the lads, we'll get behind them, we'll support them. That's our job. But it's the owner's job to give the manager the tools to do his job properly. Who's my dream transfer? So if we're talking dream, we're talking money's no object, right? I'll give you some answers on both sides. Dream transfer, Jamal Musiala. Florian Wirtz. Antonio Silva from Benfica. Nico Williams would be right up there at the very tippity top. But I feel all of those are unrealistic for some obvious reasons. A lot of it money. Dream window, a realistic dream window. Mark A, Ederson, and a forward. And I don't know who the forward is, because I don't know necessarily what type of forward Arne Slot and his system is looking for. We do need to talk Mohamed Salah replacements, but Ben Doak looked sharp in pre-season. So I think somebody like a Chiesa made sense to me, because you're not overcommitting financially, about 20 million quid and some reasonable enough wages. But centre-back and central defensive midfielder, or centre-back and central midfielder, they're the two for me. I would also look to move Costas on, and I would bring in Aït-Nouri from Wolves. I think he's a good player. I think he'd fit the way we play. I think that's pretty much it. I'm trying to be realistic in what I'm asking for in the window, or what I'm expecting. Anthony Gordon, I feel, will be the long-term solution, Coach Bill. I do feel like he will be the one that is brought in to be the next Salah. I'm not saying he'll do Salah numbers ever, but I can see a world where we end up in the longer term with Anthony Gordon, yes. Do I think Mohamed Kudus is the best replacement for Mo? His release clause has already expired this summer. 85 million, and to the best of my understanding it expired at the end of June, and I think it kicks back in at the end of next season. He's a good replacement, and again I would argue we all knew that Mohamed Kudus was a good footballer when he was at Ajax, and we missed the chance again. We procrastinated or held back. He joined another team in the Prem, and now we could be looking, if indeed we did get to buy him, to pay double the money. Craig, I'm sorry, but if Slot gets the sack, it's his own fault because he never came out and asked for the players. Disagree respectfully, Lucas, and I'm going to explain why. Arne Slot was brought in as a head coach. When Arne Slot was employed, we were all told that he wasn't going to have too much of a say on transfers, and he signed up under that agreement. We were told that Richard Hughes, Will Spearman, Michael Edwards, Dave Fallows, Barry Hunter, and the rest of the recruitment team would certainly brief the manager, but they would be the ones responsible for signing players. Then, over the course of time, and this is the way Michael Edwards liked to work, it's been written about extensively if you want to read up on it, the manager earns the trust and the right to make those more financially led decisions or to steer the course of it. The job of a sporting director is to make sure that if the coach gets fired tomorrow, the philosophy of the football club remains the same. We play the same way from underage all the way through to the first team. And a head coach should be interchangeable. But the sporting director sets the philosophy of the club and brings in people for the system to keep bringing them forward. So respectfully, I disagree because Slot hasn't had the say in the transfers. Are Liverpool actually linked with anybody? From a fellow United fan? Well, I'm not a United fan, mate, so you're definitely not a fellow United fan. Yes. So one link today is with... Oh, God. I'm going to make a mess of this pronunciation, so apologies. Liverpool have inquired about Bayer Leverkusen's Odilon Kosanu. According to Caught Offside, it's been said the Ivory Coast defender is ready to leave the Bundesliga. 23 years of age, centre-back, somewhere between 40 and 45 million euro, which is about 33 to 37 million pound. I don't know how serious that interest is or isn't, but it's been reported. Another one that we spoke about last night was Takefusa Kubo. Liverpool are reportedly preparing a 65 million euro or 54 million pound offer to sign him. That's according to a Japanese outlet called Sponichi. Again, I can't speak to the sincerity of those links. Calafiore we've mentioned. What's this one? So Nico Williams, sorry, I was reading up on Nico Williams there. Looks like he has his heart set on Barca. Did you guys see that the away kit was accidentally leaked today? That game we were speaking about earlier on, where Liverpool youngsters played Eintracht Frankfurt, they wore the new away kit. Actually looked quite good. I'm considering buying it. Yeah, I don't really like the Nike kits, but that one looked okay. The black away kit with the teal on the end of the arms. I'm trying to see if there's any more. So Barcelona trying to land double transfer blow. Spanish outlet Sport have claimed that Barcelona are confident of securing a deal to sign Nico Williams and are closing in on a deal for Dani Olmo. It's been reported that the Catalan club are confident they'll be able to afford the 2024 Euro final goal scorer following their recent financial troubles. Meanwhile, it's been said they're preparing to pay £42 million to RB Leipzig for Dani Olmo. Now, if they want to trigger the release clause, that has to be done today. If they don't, maybe they're trying to structure a deal where they pay the release clause amount, but they do it over a longer period of time. And then there was the one for Matt O'Reilly. So a report from Rudy Galletti said Matt O'Reilly has been included in the list of some clubs. Atalanta is the team that moved first for him, but the race is open for the Celtic player. Liverpool and Atleti are well informed about him, and then Juventus were linked as well. Then there was that young centre-back who we spoke about last night. Let me just get my notes on him, this gentleman here. So this piece here from Tudor Sport in Italy said that Liverpool and Newcastle have asked about information for Juventus centre-back Dean Huijsen, 19 years of age, with a potential price tag of about £25 million. I think he was on loan at Roma last year. 4 years to go in his Juventus deal. And that's all I know on that one, to be honest with you. Adrian Rabiot, I can confirm that there's no interest in him. I can say that very clearly now because finally other people have come out and said the same. No interest. Absolutely no truth to the links to Liverpool being interested in him. Yeah, that's kind of the real transfer links that I've seen over the last 24 hours anyway. Craig, is Richard Hughes even a good sporting director? Yes, he is. Now look, he was working at Bournemouth previously. It's a big step up, but lots of these people have made steps up over the years. For instance, Michael Edwards, the one that we speak so highly of, started off at Portsmouth back in the day. So yeah, these guys have earned the right to be who they are. But again, a sporting director can only work with the funds that he's given by the owners. So he hasn't really had a chance yet to show what he can do. The most worrying thing of all of this, though, is regardless of what we think about transfers, and we all have our own opinions on them, the contract renewals are the biggest embarrassment for me, because we were told they were going to happen after the last summer transfer window. They were going to happen around January time, tickled along, and then we were told about Jurgen leaving in February. Then all of a sudden the contract renewals were out the window. They were going to be spoken about in the summer, and now in the summer we're seeing those being kicked down the road again, and all three of them potentially leaving for nothing. And how is it advancing for Frimpong and Ederson to Liverpool? So on the Frimpong thing, I can only say that when I spoke with David Lynch, he didn't really think there was much to Liverpool and Frimpong. Again, I think his release clause expires soon enough, so Liverpool, if they wanted to, would have to pay €40 million. And who was the other one you mentioned? Sorry, I'm just trying to... Somebody said, will I ever do a show in London? I looked at it. It was very, very, very expensive for venues and stuff in London, so we opted against. The two shows that we are doing, Cardiff and Liverpool, they're going to be the last ones I do. So after that, it'll probably be just meetups and stuff like that. But these last two shows, they're the ones. So if you want to come along and see us, it'll be Cardiff or Liverpool. And even at that, I made sure we priced them as cheaply as we possibly could. We're losing money on the Cardiff show, but we wanted to make it accessible, so it's £15 a ticket. And like I've always said, if anybody can come for financial reasons, please just email us, contact@AnfieldAgenda.com, and we'll sort out tickets for you, no problem. But yeah, other than that's where we're at with them. Hughes is a small club sporting director. We don't know this, though. Like, Andy Robertson came from Hull. Andy Robertson was nearly without a club. Are we going to say that he wasn't good enough to come to Liverpool? You know, you earn your right to get somewhere in life, whether that's as a sporting director or whether that's as a player. You earn your right to get the bigger moves, and this is his big move, and he has the chance now, and we'll see what he can do. I'm not saying he's going to be the greatest sporting director in the world, nor am I saying he's going to be a failure. I don't know, but I'm willing to support him the same way I'm willing to support the manager and everybody else. I just need to see the owner show some ambition. Another super chat, thank you. Andrew Wright said, we've stood still since 2019. We were the best in England and Europe, and then fell apart, stood still, and let Arsenal, City, United and Chelsea catch up. So there's a couple more super chats, but Andrew, I want to just answer yours for a second, because I think you've kind of hit on an interesting point. How I view things is, we've made some good signings over the years, like you've rightly said. Virgil, Alisson, Mohamed, Bobby, Mane, all them players. But there's also one common factor there. We've run them into the ground. In the system that we play, whether it's under Arne Slot or whether it's under Jurgen Klopp, it's a demanding system. Midfielders need to have a great engine, which tends to lean towards a younger midfielder, younger players. So when we'd seen Jordan Henderson completely ran into the ground, Gini Wijnaldum ran down into the ground, Mohamed Salah overworked and ran down, we got every last inch out of these guys. Bled them dry and then let them leave. But we didn't even bring in a transfer fee for a lot of them. So you're right, mate. We've sat on our laurels. We've trusted too much. We've been told that we can't reinvest some of these transfer fees because we've had to keep rewarding the players. Players done well, players get bigger deals. That's been the excuse. High wage bill. Very difficult. Liverpool don't have the wiggle room. Free up the wages. Silence. 18.7 million. Bragged about it, but now silence. So yeah, you've hit on a good point. Super chat with no comment, or at least message retracted from Lad and Dad. So thank you for your super chat. TOTT2KZ1 said member for 1 year. 1 year subscribed to the best looking man on YouTube. What about us? Cannot wait to see you in Cardiff, Craig. Thank you, mate. It's going to be fun. Less than 2 weeks till we're in Cardiff. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Thank you for your support of the channel as well. So look, do hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Don't forget to drop a like as well on the stream. Really appreciate that. By the way, Owen, I've already spoken about the Frankfurt shit, mate. I know you're at me in the chat to speak about it, but I have. I've already addressed the situation. It's deplorable. And the players walked off the field. And Frankfurt are denying it. And it's not the first time it's happened to our underage team, mate. It's disgusting. But I have spoken about it. You mustn't have been in the stream at that point, mate. We did address it. Sean said, Craig, every day come on here hoping for some good news. Totally get your frustration. I just hope it's not affecting your mental health too much. Can I be honest with you about that side of things? No, them not spending money is not affecting my mental health because I didn't really expect it. When I say something, sometimes I sound salty and people think that I'm jealous or whatever. But you know what hurts? What hurts is being blacklisted, being painted and vilified as toxic or ignored or purposely muted, not given opportunities that others have gotten because of my forthright nature. And that disgusts me. And it hurts me as a Liverpool fan because I promise you, all I ever want is the best for the team. My life would be a lot easier and a lot more financially rewarding if I towed the company line, if I was a brown noser, and if I did everything that others have done. But I've always said the same thing. I can only look myself in the mirror and like the guy I see or not. And I've promised my audience from day one that I'm here to represent you, your thoughts, your feelings, and to give you a platform to express opinions that others might not give you the opportunity to do. So no, the owner's not spending isn't affecting my mental health, but knowing that the club has consciously worked against their channel, emailed and asked people in supporters clubs what their business with us is when we've gone to places, ignored very sincere requests for answers around our place in the Liverpool landscape from a media perspective, being just blanked. There's lots of stuff about this industry I can't speak about publicly, but there are little groups and cartels and cliques and people who are in and people who aren't. And people work very hard to keep others on the outside. And we've never been given a platform. We've never been highlighted. We've never been quoted, really. We've never been spoken about. So what we've done is, I think, quite remarkable, because we've built it with you guys behind us, and they can't lie and ignore numbers. Numbers speak for themselves. If I was that toxic, horrible asshole, I wouldn't have the support we have. I wouldn't have the people coming in that we do. So that's what gets to me, is people just assuming that shit that they've been told about me or about us and that we're toxic is true. It isn't true. I would not consider myself a toxic human being. But it does hurt. Of course it hurts. I'm a fella. I want to be as close to the football club as I can because I love it. But I'm also a stubborn son of a bitch. And if I believe that I have been wronged, I won't step down. I won't back down. I didn't back down when Goldbridge tried to sue us. I didn't back down at any other time, nor will I back down with the owners blanking us. Because I know what I'm doing is justified. I know that I'm speaking from the heart. Top channel, mate. Mine's new starting this season. Each game vlogs from Anfield, if anybody would like to check it out. Third row from the pitch. I did 3 video games last season, which did okay. That's awesome. That's a good idea. Matchday vlogs are always really cool. It's good to see from different perspectives as well. Good to get a flavour, mate, from somebody who's at the game. And look, if it's of interest to you, I think there's a potential there that we could do something. You know, you're at the games. You know, happy to help you on your journey if that's of interest to you as well. But yeah, awesome, mate. Wish you all the best. Do check out his channel, Liverpool FC Vlogs. I've always said this about us as a community, Liverpool fans. What I love most about the Liverpool fan content community is that there's so many different perspectives, types of content. I think there's enough for everybody, and I love it. I think we're very lucky as Liverpool fans that we get such a great choice, and the more the merrier, mate. So well in, and I wish you nothing but the best. Hoider, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Very kind of you. Mo Salah said, Craig, for the pre-season games, you do the same match thing 1 hour ahead of the game and match reactions. No, I can't really envision. I can't really envision us doing match reactions for the pre-season games. Sort of because of the time as well. You know, they're really late. We'll probably start half an hour beforehand. We're going to be live from probably about 11:45 actually next Friday night into Saturday for the game against Real Betis. Oh, cool. So Mark's just sent me a message. So Dave, a regular, long-time viewer of the channel, had the pleasure of meeting Dave as well up in Dublin at the show. And Dave and his wife are bringing their daughter Sinead over to Liverpool to see our live show, because Sinead wasn't able to come to the show in Dublin because it was an over-18s event. And she's going to be abseiling down the side of Anfield for her 13th birthday present as well. Awesome. Sinead, well done, young lady, and can't wait to finally meet you. And yeah, well done, Dave and his missus. That's awesome. How do I rate the Preston game? Said Hoarder, excuse me. So obviously I've seen clips of it, you know, but I thought we looked sharp. I know we lost the game, but we created a lot. I liked what I'd seen. It was interesting seeing Doak operating off the left. I thought there was some good work down the right. Mo looked sharp. He probably felt disappointed not to have scored in the game. The goal they scored from Robbie Brady was just a worldie. You know, we gave away possession and that was a mistake, but the finish from Robbie Brady over Yaros was just incredible. But yeah, all in all, it looked sharp, and I wouldn't read too much into it. Most important thing is Arne Slot got a look at some of the guys. They got minutes. They're building up their fitness, and we didn't have an injury. So yeah, I'm pretty okay with it, to be honest. Another mellow-like signing, mark my words, said Alex. I just don't understand how anybody will accept that though, Alex, mate. You know, it's crazy. Do you know what got me most about that Arthur Melo deal? It was that Juventus insisted on an option to buy for Liverpool, and Liverpool had no intention of making it permanent, but yet agreed to the potential option to buy, paid a £2 million loan fee, if my memory's right, for a player that anybody could have told them wasn't going to work out. And look, he got injured, that's unlucky, say la vie, but it's madness. It's £2 million plus the wages thrown in the bin. And it was the same with Ozan Kabak, Ben Davies, stick and plaster signings that just weren't good enough. George said, love the channel, Craig. Thank you. I'm going to subscribe to Liverpool FC vlogs as well. Cheers. Thank you. Appreciate that. There is one channel that I'm not going to name, but I'm very suspicious of the channel. And it's statistics, let's say. So, yeah. I feel like there was one channel out there that's potentially a little bit iffy. Don't ask me for the name. I'm not going to say it publicly. But something doesn't add up for me. Rayan said, reports they're lining up Gonzalo Inacio. So a couple of things about Inacio. One, we've long been linked with him. You know, go back to last summer when we were looking for a centre-back then. We've long been linked. The part that frustrates me about it is that if we wanted him, we could have had him for €20 million cheaper than the buyout clause that currently exists in the Sporting Lisbon contract. We also could have got a deal over the line at this point. I know he was away at the Euros. But what concerns me more as well is the system he's used to playing in is a back three, where he played to the left, Diamande played to the right, and Sebastian Coates more often than not played through the centre. So I'm not convinced that he's the right fit. But if we do, great, it's a centre-back. I just don't know why we wouldn't have moved a year ago. If he was clearly that guy, why pay 20 million quid a year later? That's 20 million quid that we can spend elsewhere. Dave said, thanks, see you in 2 weeks. Sinead's packing her bag now. Love that. Love that, Dave. I should have an Anfield Agenda mug for Sinead as well by that point, Dave. We're bringing over a couple of Anfield Agenda mugs with us to give out. Remind me to give Sinead one. The good thing about the way we're travelling over, Dave, is we're going on the ferry, so we're bringing our cars over, which means we can take some more stuff with us. So I should have a brand new shiny Anfield Agenda mug there for Sinead as well. Russell, how are you, my man? Russell said, Mbuemo, Murillo and Ederson, and we're sorted. It's the Mbuemo one I'm not sure of, Russell. He's a good work rate. And I can see where you're going with it. I can. And I was surprised to find out that he's as young as he is. I thought he was a little bit older, Russell. But look, I wouldn't be overly disappointed if that was the window. I would have probably a couple of options I'd prefer. But again, it's about filling the gaps in the squad. And if they're the choices, then they're the choices. Would I abseil down Liverpool? I'm too fat. I probably wouldn't be able to do it, to be fair, mate. From a fear perspective, yes, no problem. But yeah, I'm probably too chunky to do it. In my opinion, Hughes and Edwards are waiting for a fire sale near the end of the window. It's a dangerous game to play, though, because who's the fire sale going to be from? Have they got players that we're truly interested in? And what if it goes the other way? That the prices soar at the end of the window as buying clubs become more desperate. That just, to me, paints a picture of a situation where we're going to say there wasn't value in the long run and did nothing. Let's check back in on the Mark A poll. We've had 1,600 votes on it. Should Liverpool sign Mark A for £65 million? And 66% have said yes. So, centre-back poll. For the last poll tonight, let's get a centre-back poll on the go. So Ben, if you'd be so kind, mate, which centre back should Liverpool sign? Mark Gay, Gonzalo Inacio. Give me some more suggestions for centre backs that you'd like to see in the poll. Gay, Inacio, and we need 2 more. So give us 2 more suggestions for centre backs. Righteous Gamer said, it baffles me how Barca was in money trouble, yet they're buying players and FSG are worth 9 billion and we don't spend. Where's the money, John? Where's the money, John? Indeed, mate. Barca find ways. They always seem to find a way. Again, rightly or wrongly, at least they're ambitious. Murillo and Hincapié. There you go. Branthwaite is a great show, James. It's just not realistic because they won't sell to us. But I think Hincapié and Murillo. So Ben, if we could go with Mark Gay, Piero Hincapié, Gonzalo Inacio, and I don't know if Murillo has a fucking second name, does he? Murillo. You might think it's weird, but I want Dishi Kamada. No, look, there's some good players doing the rounds for some Bundesliga and other clubs. Pacho, another name that we've been linked with. Diamonde, briefly linked with. But look, let's look at this one and see what people think. And sure, we can always have a part 2 as well and then have a final. Do you know what? That's what we'll do. I'm going to stay on until... Ben's going to hate me. I'm going to stay on till 10:30. Ben, you can head off if you need to, mate. I'm going to stay on till 10:30. We'll do this, and then we'll do a second version of it, and then we'll do a final. So let's get this poll done, and then we'll put the top 2 through to the final, and then we'll do another centre-back poll with another 4. Craig, what about De Jong? I would love him under Klopp, but with Slot, I don't know. His wages are astronomical. I think Frankie De Jong is one of, if not the highest paid player in La Liga. He's on crazy money. So I don't think that's doable. Steele, Calafiori. Unfortunately, it looks like that one's gone too late. And they had a good relationship with Bologna, I think from the Tomiyasu deal, if my memory serves right. Craig, do you think we sign and how many? 2 is my guess. We need 3, but I think 2. Thoughts on the Yilmaz links? Kind of interesting one. I know he was in London as well. We spoke about the pictures of him in London. The Galatasaray president said he's not for sale. I'm not sure if I still have that on my notes. Bear with me one sec. I'll scroll back through. I used to have it in my notes, so bear with me. One sec. No, it's not that one. Sorry, folks. I'm just scrolling back through days worth of notes here to get to the point where I had that information on him. Anyway, the gist of it is, and I'll find it, that he said he wasn't for sale. Where the fuck is it gone? There we go. So, Galatasaray president Ibrahim Hatipoglu said that his attacker is not for sale. Speaking with CNN Turkey, he said Barış Alper Yilmaz is not for sale. There are offers for many players, including Barış. We rejected some without thinking. Barış is one of them. He is not for sale. So that was the last bit of info I seen on him. He was doing the rounds in London, as seen, but after that, I don't really know. Max said, Craig, I've got something to tell you. Would you not have just put that in there, Max, without the... Because the odds are I'm not going to see the rest of your post now, mate, because you've used your membership post, which was highlighted. So have at it, mate. Tell me whatever you need to tell me. Unless it's rude, in which case, you know, I don't want to see it. Even Endo said to get another midfielder. Yep, you're right. What's the situation with Darwin? As of now, Raja, I'm not aware of any ban, but it doesn't mean there mightn't possibly be one forthcoming. But as of right now, I'm not aware of any ban there with Darwin. And the plan is, of course, for Darwin to be your number 9 this season. Hoarder, how are you, sir? And thank you for your super chat. Said, we need a DM, a central midfielder and a forward. 3 players out. So I'd sell Costas. I'd move on a couple of the fringe players like Tyler Morton, who, look, I think Tyler Morton will have a good career. I just don't know if it'll be at Liverpool. I'd sell Curtis Jones as well, to be honest with you. But and then we've got to sort out the Trent, Virgil and Mo situations, particularly the Trent one. Do you really think we will sign anyone because our owners are cheap? They'll keep Nat Phillips and Sepp van den Berg and Reece Williams. Reece Williams is gone. He's already been excluded from training for Arne Slot, according to reports that were out yesterday. Interest in Turkey and League One in Reece Williams. Sepp van den Berg, I still don't know how he's being discussed as an option and everyone's ignoring what he said about the club not having his best interests at heart. That winds me up. He could be a good enough centre-back or he could not, I don't know, but either way he should be shown the fucking exit door for those comments. And the other one you said was Nat Phillips, who just unfortunately isn't good enough, and I think is into the last year of his deal, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Kevin said, big fan, Craig. Thank you, mate, but I've always said the same thing. Don't be a fan of me. You're a mate. I'm not anybody. I'm not famous. I'm not a celebrity. I'm just a normal dude. So you're a friend, but thank you. Right, so we'll end poll number 1. We've had over 500 votes, and it is... Oh my, I'm very surprised at this, to be fair. Not with Mark Gay winning the poll, because I thought that was going to happen, but I'm surprised at who you guys have put through to the final with him. You've gone for Inacio, and you've ruled out Incapie. So we'll move on to poll number 2, and we'll get the second centre-back poll sorted. So, suggestions and names for the second poll. Let's go. The other semi-final, then we'll have a final. Right, so who did I say I would include in this one again? Diamonde, yes, okay. Diamonde. Who else was it? There's no point in putting Branthwaite in there. Pacho, absolutely. Because Branthwaite's just not possible. Simican, yeah, he's one we've been linked with as well, mate. Let me add him in. Simican, 1 second. Simakan. Simakin. I've one more space. Lacroix is an interesting one, actually. Yarrow's gone. Gertrude. Hanko. He's gone. Is Hanko not going to Atletico Madrid? If my memory's right, wasn't he not moving there? I feel like it's the most realistic. Lacroix is one we've been linked with. So I feel like I should throw him in. So I have Diamonde, Pacho, Simic and Lacroix. The reason I haven't put in... Actually, yeah, I want to put that guy in. I'm struggling here. Yeah, I'm looking at the guy from Juve and I'm just trying to figure out who I can take out. I think I can take Lacroix out. So we'll go for the guy from Juventus. 1 second. What's that kid's name again? Hujsen or something, isn't it? There we go. Yeah, Huijsen. Right, polls up. Semi-final number 2. Diamande, Pacho, Simikin and Huijsen, who's the kid from Juventus. Bremer we're not interested in. Henry, Juventus were looking to cash in on him at 70 million and Liverpool were apparently not interested in that number. Craig streaming on a Saturday. I know, as I said, mate, I'm home alone. Everybody's out, except my son Lucas, who's upstairs playing his computer. So we decided to jump on and have a chat. Mark my words, Craig will sign Lacroix, Wolfsburg player. Well, we were in for him last summer and nothing happened to that either. His name's been doing the round for a good year now. I still swear the one we missed out on for me was Mickey van de Ven. He just felt like he would have been a great fit for us. He was even at a Liverpool game in the past as well. So David Lynch has said Virgil van Dijk wants to sign a new contract at Liverpool. He's continuously reiterated his love for Liverpool and his pride of captaining the club. Good. I've said this all along. I have full agreement with David on that. Full agreement with anybody who thinks Virgil wants to stay. And I also agree that Virgil has, in my opinion, at least 2 more years at the very top. Maybe even a bit longer. So I hope that that's resolved. Wages, okay, that could be a sticky point because you have to take into account the part of the career he's at, but he is the club captain. So yeah, look, I'm all good on that one. I hope Van Dijk stays. I don't want to lose him. Sell Gravenberch, hold Curtis. Really? I don't know. I've not seen enough. I've not seen enough consistency for Curtis Jones, unfortunately. He had that really great period though. He did have that purple patch where he was brilliant. But I think it's weird because I was very skeptical of signing Gravenberch when we did, but I really like the kid. I think there's a player in there, a really, really, really good player. What was this one? Craig, can I get a photo with you in Liverpool in 2 weeks? Of course. Everybody that comes to any of the shows includes a meet and greet and a photo afterwards if anybody wants them. 100%, mate. The good thing about the Liverpool show is that the venue stays open till midnight. So we'll be able to even grab a bite to eat afterwards, have a drink and have a proper good chat. So don't worry about that. There'll be more than enough time to do that. The only thing is kids under 18 will have to be out by 10, so we're going to finish the show at about 9:30. Make sure we get all the kids' photos done first so that they can, come up, say hello, have a chat. And in Cardiff, we'll be doing the same, making sure everybody who wants a photo or a chat can get one. It's, without a shadow of a doubt, mate, don't worry about that. Love the content. FSG need to start spending, said Harry Ray. Thank you for that. What do you think of RK about Slaw? That's gone over my head a little bit there, mate. Sorry. RK. Am I missing something really obvious here? Roy Keane. Yes, there you go. I spoke about it at the start of the stream, mate. Sorry. I was figuring it out there for a second. Spoke about it at the start of the stream. I disagree with what Roy Keane said. Now, look, I'm not saying everybody had Arne Slot's name on the edge of their lips when Jurgen Klopp was leaving, but I can certainly say I know a lot more people knew who he was than Roy Keane are giving them credit for. Me personally, I have to be honest, I only really started to know about Arne Slot when he was linked to Spurs before Postecoglou came in. I remember he turned down the opportunity to go to Spurs, and that's kind of when I first started to learn about Arne Slot. But look, Roy Keane can say what he wants, to be fair. I just disagree. I think the only reason we see a potential failure with a gaffer is if he's not backed, and then he's been set up for failure, in my opinion. So the rest of what Roy Keane said, I think, is a bit sensationalist, but He should be more concerned about the shit show at Old Trafford than worrying about us. You won't miss me, I have pink purple hair. Sweet. Nice. You won't miss me, I'll be the bald guy. I did say to you guys, I think that I'm picking up some Anfield Agenda Adidas tops and hoodies. They're at the printers now, being, what's the word I'm looking for again? Embroidered. Yes, embroidered. So I will have, for the live shows, I'll be wearing an Anfield Agenda Adidas t-shirt. And I'm going to have an Anfield Agenda hoodie, an Adidas hoodie as well, and see what they look like. And if you like them, we can see about maybe getting them ready for a bit of merch or something. Right, so Pacho and Diamande are through to the final. So Pacho, Diamande, 1 second, let's get the final up. So, Pacho, Diamande, Gay, and Ignacio. Right, here we go. The final is Pacho, Diamande, Gay, and Ignacio. They are the four with the highest votes. So now the final poll is up. We'll leave that run until just when we finish up at about 10:30, and then we'll see who you guys think is the best fit from the 8 names we've mentioned. How's your night been? Good. Always good when I get to come on and have a chat with you guys, mate. So yeah, good, thankfully. So, question for you guys, actually. Has anybody listened to the Anfield Agenda podcast? And if you have, what's your feedback on it? So if you aren't aware, as you can see there, Anfield Agenda podcast did drop this week, and we broke the top 100 in the UK sports podcasts already in week 1. So if you've listened to it, let me know what you think. Any feedback is always welcome. We're going to be recording another episode on Monday evening, so that will be out on Tuesday. And then I'm going to record my own shorter version of the podcast on Wednesday to come out Thursday. So you should, in theory, get 2 episodes every week. Myself and Jack Gill will be out on a Tuesday, and then my own personal shorter one should be out every Thursday. That's the plan anyway. If you haven't, do search Anfield Agenda in your favourite podcast platform and give us a review. James Delia, welcome to Anfield Agenda Ultras, bro. Appreciate your support. Incredible stuff. VVD is giving the green light to Saudi. Has he? I've not seen anyone say that. For me, the biggest concern I would have with Virgil van Dijk is that he may go to Borussia Dortmund at the end of his contract if Liverpool don't give him a new deal as the kind of long-term Hummels replacement. I don't think Virgil will go to Saudi at this point of his career. I think he's too good to go there now. Podcast really good. Great, Craig. I'll listen after the stream tonight, said Coach Bill. Cool. I love doing it. Podcast, in case you didn't know, is where I started my whole content journey. So to be able to get back to finally putting out an Anfield Agenda podcast after 6 years of YouTube, it feels great. And having Jack to do it with as well is brilliant. It's lovely to be talking with Jack about all things Liverpool. So yes, we hope you enjoy it. And certainly it's been doing really well in week 1. So you can find it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Acast, any of the podcast platforms. Yeah, we're pretty much on all of them. When do you think FSG will start spending the money? Your guess is as good as mine, mate. I think if they could get away with it, they would probably do the bare minimum. And that's why I think it's important for us fans to step up and make our voices heard. Respectfully, I never encourage any hatred or animosity, but speak up. Let it be known that you're unhappy. And don't listen to the idiots that are going to jump on to belittle you. Because it always happens. You'll have a say, somebody come on and go, bet you couldn't even find Anfield on the map, or tell me you don't understand Liverpool without telling me you don't understand Liverpool. Doesn't matter. You've every right to expect more of these owners, because so far they've done absolutely nothing in this window, and they haven't even extended the contracts of 3-star players who are in the last 11 months. It's nothing. It's not even bare minimum stuff. LFC said, thoughts on the away kit? I actually like it. I didn't initially think I would, but I seen it on the lads today, and yeah, I think I might actually buy it, in all honesty. Not going to be buying the stupidly expensive Vapor version, but because heaven forbid, Nike ain't going to send me a free one like every other Liverpool content creator, but yeah, I might treat myself to one because it's quite nice. And black is slimming, of course, so. But I can't wait for Adidas to be making them. Not hating on the Anfield wrap whatsoever, but they're ridiculously positive when it comes to transfers. I love the Anfield wrap. I think the Anfield wrap are brilliant. I'm a fan. I've said this for a very long time. I've never had the pleasure of interacting with the lads or speaking with them on a show or anything, but for me, the Anfield wrap are incredible. I think they're the greatest fan content maker out there of any club. I can't say enough good things. I love they chased their dreams. I love that they went and backed themselves. I can't say enough good things about them. The Anfield wrap are absolutely brilliant, and I'm a fan, but I haven't had a chance to listen over the last year or so because obviously I'm so busy with what I do. I used to have a subscription. I used to pay my money every month, and I used to think it was great value. But I've always found the Anfield wrap lads, when I listen to them, to say how they feel. I've never found that they're overly protective of the owners or anything. But look, as I said, I haven't really listened in a while, but I've nothing but good things to say from when I listen to them. I think they're incredible. Who's the secret person joining you? It didn't work out. It didn't work out, mate. We couldn't get the numbers to add up. Yeah, we weren't comfortable with the numbers involved in it, and for that reason, unfortunately, it didn't work out. Scotty said, Red Men won't say anything. Look, I'm not going to belittle other Liverpool content creators. Red Men TV are their own men. They do their own thing. I contacted Chris to pass on my sincere respects and best wishes to his family for the difficult situation that they're going through with his mum. And that's it. I told him at that moment, and I'm going to say it again publicly, whatever difference of opinion or difference of thought processes we had, I'm not going to start to try and make Paul Machin's life any more difficult, because the poor man and his family are going through a lot, and they've got my support, my love, and my best wishes. That's it. So I'm not going to, get into that whole who says what or who defends the club stuff. Family comes first, and I feel for the guy, and I hope he's doing okay with what with his mother situation. So yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything to say on it. It's time the fans are taken seriously, especially after all we've seen for about 3 windows now. FSG should be open, even a good partnership, said Kofi. The fans have to speak up, mate. We want to win, and that's the thing. Whatever side of this debate you're on, whether you're somebody who thinks we're all being too pushy, whether you're somebody who thinks that the business will be done eventually, whatever you think, I think we can all agree that we want the best for the club, and we all come from a place of love, and we all want the club to do well. I'm just so disappointed, It's so many false dawns and so many so nearly so close. We're not all that far away from being a really good competitive side. We'll be okay. We'll compete this season, even if we didn't make a signing, but we won't win. And we want to win. And to win, We're not that far away. It just takes that little push over. And it always feels like under these owners, we're 1 or 2 away. We're almost there. And almost there has been frustrating. Finishing second in the Champions League on 2 occasions to Madrid, to Manchester City on numerous occasions. It sucks. Hoarder said FSG are doing nothing with regards to contracts. And that, mate, that in itself, Hoarder, is absolutely unforgivable. Like, how do you do nothing with contracts for players who've proven their worth? So, look, Mohamed Salah and Virgil I sort of understand because of their age, but I'd still want clarification. I don't think we'll get an agreement with Mo unless he's willing to take a pay cut. Because I don't think, with all due respect to the great man, he's worth a pay rise at this point of his career. Virgil is the captain and he's performed at a very high level again last year. And I think he doesn't rely on pace too much. So I think and hope he gets an extension. But as I've always said, the one that's unforgivable, the one that there is no argument for, the one that there is no excuses can be made about is Trent. It's unforgivable. It's time the fans are taken seriously. After all, we've seen about 3 windows now. FSG should be open. We've done that one. James, thank you, mate, for your super chat. You're really kind. Said, Craig, what do you think the end game is with FSG? I can't figure them out. I feel like they will sell when they feel like Premier League football clubs are at their peak value. That there is no more untapped markets to explore. There's no more commercial entities to rinse more money out of. When they feel that football's at its peak value-wise, they'll sell. Projections that I read about a year ago said that naturally, without anything else, football clubs are projected to grow by at least 6.5 million quid. Or that's a lie, 6.5% over the course of the next 12 months or so. So I feel like we won't see any budging from them unless they get a crazy offer that they just can't turn down, or they feel like the bubble is about to burst. Maybe Trent doesn't want to stay. I'm open to that possibility, Andrew. Then you sell his ass. You know, and if he says, I'm not going anywhere, then you say, okie dokie, see that seat over there on the bench? That's yours. We're going to put 66 on that, and that's where you're going to be sitting for the season. And let's see if Real Madrid still wants you in a year when you haven't got match fitness and you aren't sharp. Same way Yoro was told that by Lille. And are we really going to say that we're not a big enough club to do what Lille did to their young talented player? Either agree the move to United, or somebody who's agreed the fee we want, or you sit in the bench for 12 months and then you can go to join Real Madrid or do what you want. That's the situation. Offer Trent the deal. If Trent doesn't like the deal or has any doubts about signing it, I think you've got your answer. What I think is absolute horseshit is this belief that Trent just wants a year just to see if Arne Slot can do it or not, if he's good enough or not. If he's really thinking that, and again, I don't know, if he is, that's an indication that he's off. Unless he's saying 100% staying, let's get it sorted, let's get to the number, this is my home. Anything else and it's on the bench or sold. As harsh as it sounds, that has to be the answer. The club are in limbo over Trent. Defo has had his head turned, and that was the danger, Andrew, of not sorting it out. You know, a player and his agent are always going to look after themselves, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but let's look at this. You're Trent and his agent, and you see that the manager that you love is leaving. You find that out in February time. Jurgen announces he's going. Then you've got a ready-made excuse as to why you don't sign the new contract right then. Because you want to see who the new manager is, right? That's your excuse. Now, what does that also do? That also means your contract runs down. So then we announce Arne Slot. and still no contract for Trent. So then he goes away to the Euros. He's away at the Euros. He's got Bellingham in his ear. Real Madrid declare their interest. They've made some communication to Trent's camp. And now all of a sudden he's 11 months to go. And we're hearing he just wants to see if Arne Slot is going to be competitive before he makes a decision. Really? We're believing that? We're falling for that shit? No. It's again just increasing the leverage, increasing where the power in the negotiation sits. And it's bullshit. Is United back in your opinion? I don't know what back is. I certainly expect them to be better than last season, yes. Yeah. You know, whether they're going to challenge for a Premier League title or not, I don't think they're there quite yet. But you should be looking Champions League football again, hopefully, if you're a United fan. For me, I hope you end up nowhere near Europe, of course. But you'd have to say they're certainly trending in the right direction. I think he means, are they title contenders? No, I don't think they're title contenders. And I don't mean that in a mocking manner. As things sit right now, I don't think we're title contenders. Because we're already starting from a position behind two teams that have strengthened. And we've done nothing. So I find it very difficult to sit here with a straight face and say I think we're title contenders. I think you'll be in and around our level, in all honesty, is what I think of United at the minute. And that's why I hope we strengthen, because it's getting more difficult to break into the Champions League. It's getting more difficult to get top four, because the big six has now become a big eight. You've got Liverpool, City, Arsenal, United, Spurs, Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, all really, really feeling like they can get Champions League football. All with good squads, decent managers. And it's more competitive than ever. So, yeah, we can't sit on our hands. So, this just breaking this second, sent to me. It was hinted at by somebody in the chat earlier. Connor's just sent it on to me. From Rudy Galletti, said Virgil van Dijk has given the green light to the PIF to approach Liverpool over a possible transfer in the summer. Liverpool are asking for €55 million to evaluate his departure. But we aren't planning for a centre-back. Liverpool have no thoughts on signing a centre-back. Now look, I don't know if this... PIF is the Saudi investment fund, mate. It's the public investment fund of Saudi Arabia. I don't know what to say to that. I wouldn't consider him the most reliable of sources, in all honesty. But what I would expect to happen if there's no truth to it is a James Pearce, a David Ornstein, a Paul Joyce, a Chris Bascom, a Simon Hughes, somebody, a David Lynch, to come out and say it's lie, it's bullshit. And if we don't hear that again, like we didn't hear the denials about Trent, what can we say? I'm a bit shocked here at the moment, to be honest with you. I mean, let's consider the situation for a moment. If, big if, what this dude says is right, €55 million would be a lot of money for somebody with 1 year to go, who's 33. Looking at it from that side, I just don't know if it's true. That's the honest answer. Fuck me. But you know what it is? Even if it's true or it's not true, one thing that's undeniable right now is that the vibe around Liverpool and the fan base ain't great. It isn't positive. It isn't optimistic. And I'm not seeing the rubbishing of some of these stories from, you know, journalists that we all have faith in. It's a big call. If they sell Virgil, it's a big call. We're going to see soon enough, aren't we? I feel like over the course of this stream, we've gone from the news where somebody sent across David Lynch, I think it was, had said Virgil's reiterated his desire to stay at Liverpool. He loves the club. Again, I agree with that with David Lynch. I'm very fond of David Lynch. But to see this then come out, I mean, look, we'll see if it's denied or not. We'll see what the Liverpool journalists have to say. Your top 6 predictions, said Hoyder. Arsenal to win the league. City second. Villa third, Liverpool fourth, United fifth, Chelsea sixth, at a guess. But, you know, I'm saying this without knowing any of the business. Look, I've got to go investigate this, to be honest with you. I've got to go and find out, because I've got my morning news video to record. I usually do that 3-4 a.m. So I'm going to go find out about this. Let's finish up with this poll, by the way, as well. So best choice for centre-back. Mark A with 58% of the vote is the centre-back that you guys feel would be the best fit for Liverpool. Villa won't do well. I don't know, Tyler. They've done some good business, mate. Yeah, they've done. Look, they've gotten rid of a good player as well. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they should have sold Douglas Luiz, but Unai Emery knows what he's at, and he's going to have a very, very confident Ollie Watkins as well. Wow. That's, Look, I'll be back live tomorrow. We'll have a video out at 12. We'll have a video out at about 5:30. And then hopefully I will see you guys at 8:15, 8:45, sorry, for a late night agenda tomorrow. If you haven't hit the like button before you head off, please do. Let's try and get it up to 1,000 likes. It really does mean a lot, and it helps push the channel out there. If you haven't subscribed as well, don't forget to do that. And of course, check out the Anfield Agenda podcast and the Clips channel. I'll have more news to you on the Van Dijk situation in the morning video. Thank you for coming in and joining me tonight. I will catch up with you guys tomorrow. Much love.